I need a motion presented. Motion made by Mr. Coleman to approve the amendment of the those in favor? Have the approval of the executive minutes of October 28th. I would accept the motion to approve the Board of Directors minutes from October 28th as presented. Those in favor? Aye. Need a motion to approve the executive minutes of October 28th regarding personnel matters.
I'll make it.
Mr. Burns?
I'll second.
Mr. Miller, seconds. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? I would need a motion to approve the polling vote for the alternate ballot judges who serve in our upcoming election.
I'll make that motion.
Mr. Miller makes the motion to approve Rena Drunkman, Susan McBride, Thelma McFalls, and Todd Stokes. These were all polled with unanimous. Have a second? Adam Hector, second. Mr. Hiller's. The motion and a second. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Motion to approve Mr. James to the environment.
Make that motion.
Mr. Miller. Approve Mr. Crichton's letter to environmental works of EPA, second by Mr. Combs. Open for discussion at the minutes that we just approved this meeting. We got a little okay, did you sign these minutes? We're open for discussion. I'm going to, one of the reasons we're signing the minutes tonight, morning, they will be on the website as approved. I'm going to refer to them a little bit because some of the things we want to talk about tonight are contained in those minutes. And one of them is a letter that we asked Mr. Kreitler to write regarding the remediation effort. And I have a letter here. I'll briefly read his letter to the EPA. It says, please be advised, the undersigned represents Terre Association has come to my attention and the concern of my client that Environmental Works is continuing with remediation projects without obtaining appropriate permits. In addition to this issue, it has come to our attention certain truck routes are not being followed because of this unnecessary wear and tear on our roads. I enclosed two memos from October 20th from Cody Gillette, permit coordinator and code official, directed to both Environmental Works and EPA. While the residents of the association are certainly glad for the remediation process to have started, there are certain formalities that need to be followed and certain understandings that need to be put into place. A memorandum of understanding loosely deals with compliance with loads of trucks documentation regarding truckloads, compliance with EPA guidelines, and very loosely dealing with excessive damage. Due to the lack of permits being applied for and maintained by Environmental Works, also due to the lack of truck routes being established and followed, my client demands that a formal agreement be entered into so as to establish truck routes for certain jobs, ensure the permits are appropriately applied for. Several lots have the issues outlined in Mr. Gillette's emails. Those certainly need to be resolved. In addition to those issues, entering into a formal agreement, my client requires a copy of the Environmental Works contract with the EPA. The EPA is copied on this letter for purposes of obtaining the contract, but also to advise them of some of the issues that the association has been dealing with. If you could advise within 30 days of the day of this letter, if you intend to comply with the request. Part of this is due to not paying attention to some of the things that our memorandum calls for, like vendor lists. We have vendors in here that are working for Environmental Works that have not applied. We're not in the enforcement stage with Environmental Works, but the Public Works and the administrative staff and the police have all agreed to meet monthly to document the various violations and things that we're finding. Trucks not on the truck routes. It seems things are coming up, like this morning we just received another permit, and the permits are good for 4 months as I understand it. And it seems untimely for me that we'd be signing permits now. We would be trying to open up new permits. It's my understanding November 15th is
25th. November 25th.
November 25th is the last date that they can open a yard. So it gives us some concern that we're going to see yards open all winter. We're not in the enforcement stage. It has cost us some extra money. In the minutes you'll see, Chief Cook has agreed to do more documentation. He's ordered some dash cams for the 4 more dash cams for the police cars where we can document things. But we're going to try to get together and is up as best we can. Also, along with this, we've asked the EPA to test some of the areas that property owners own. We've asked if they test the ball field, the roundabout. The reason for the roundabout is because we had an unsafe condition earlier this year where we had to remove some playground equipment. We have a donor that's willing to replace that piece by piece. But first we want to be sure we're putting them in an area that's not needing remediation. So we're asking that they test the ball field, pavilion park, the area around the firehouse up here where the basketball goals are, 2 beach areas, the river park, and the areas around the lakes where the lake properties have tested high. So we're waiting to hear back from them. The letter's been written, it's ready to go. We need to, I guess, vote on it. We've had the discussion. Is there any more discussion on this? If there's no more discussion, I'll move that we authorize Mr. Crichton to send this letter. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Okay, we'll get this in the mail tomorrow. Okay, we need to approve the bills. The first thing that I would ask the board to do is to look at your cash disbursements, or list the checks and the check numbers. I would need a motion to approve the check register beginning with check number 32,884, ending with check 33,223, in the amount of $149,809. This check register.
Yeah.
Mr. Kearns, it's a motion. approve this? Is there a second? Is that a second on paying the
I'll
bills?
second.
Mike Miller? Okay, on the list, there's several large items. I'll just talk about a couple of them. Did anybody have any questions that you might be able to answer on the check register? It was a big month for us. Some of the bigger items are $4,980 for hot mix to lead belt materials for patching. $20,000 for our new lease car. $33,800 for the Broadway Ford for our new public works truck. It's now being outfitted with a snow plow, and it should be ready for us later this month.
Hopefully, yeah.
Hopefully. The Crouch and Farley the audit bill for $7,700 is in there. We have a $3,000 bill for Wegman Bishop, our attorneys. And then we have a $25,000 check for the addition of our new fire truck. The total disbursements, $149,000. Those in favor of accepting these bills and approving them? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None opposed? We'll deal with this. The next item of business is the balance sheet. Everybody has the financials, the balance sheet, it's pre-read. We'd like to have a motion to approve the balance sheet. This is from the TOPS accounting system. Mr. Stern? Second. Mr. Miller? The only thing to highlight, I think, on that is if you have the first several items on the balance sheet, you'll see that our cash position, we have $682,988 cash in the bank, less the prepay account of 32, less permit deposits of 38, to give us a cash balance of $612,000. And this will need to carry us through to March 16th of 2000. Also of note, if you add up all the accounts receivable, we have $317,000 in accounts receivable. That's our reserve of $254,000. Gives us a net accounts receivable of $63,000. Estimate the year-end balance to be $25,000. That gives us $38,000 we either hope to collect or write off between now and the end of the year, December 31st. There's not much to say in the way of the liabilities, other than the permit deposits and the prepaid owner assessments come out of the cash total. Any other discussion on the balance sheet or any questions on the balance sheet? I accept the motion, we approve it as read. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? None. The next item I'd like to take up is the cash flow report. This is off the top systems, part of the 3 documents that we use in our financials. Let's do the cash flow. I have a motion to approve the cash flow statement.
Make a motion.
Second. Mr. Combs, first. Second down here, I think. Mike, second. Okay. We're open for discussion on the cash flow report. item I think that really stands out this month, and it's something that's unusual on here, is if you look down to the side, you'll see an account called maintenance equipment. It's account 160. And it shows a debit balance of 3,000, which means that our equipment was a source of cash. The reason that this is true, and when we get to the income statement, you'll see it reflected there. When we traded in the car, we got a $5,000 credit that we had to recapture the depreciation on. When we traded in the truck, we got a $16,000 credit. We had to recapture the depreciation. The original truck that we traded in was an '06 that had a depreciated value of $55,000. Because it was less than the cost of the truck, $34,000, and we had took the accumulated depreciation, we also were showing a gain on it. So our gain on disposal of assets this month amounted to $21,000, and when you get to the income statement, you'll see that amount there. It's an unusual entry and not a part of what normally takes place. Also unusual is the fact that usually your accumulated depreciation shows as addition to cash. In this case, because we had to recapture $20,000 worth of depreciation off of the police car, and we had to recapture $55,000 of depreciation from the truck, that gave us a net against the charges for depreciation of a $58,000 use of cash. And that's why the cash flow statement is kind of different than what you normally see. Bottom line is, when we started the year, we started with $429,000 in cash. Our profit for the year is $362,000. The reduction in our depreciation is like $48,000, which gives us a total from operation of $411, less the cash that we've spent. Gives us a increase in cash to this point of $682,000, which is also our cash balance. So, any other discussion on the cash flow report? Okay, those in favor of approving the cash flow report? Aye. Aye. Approved. Okay, I meant to discuss this during the cash flow, and I'll just briefly do it. Give everyone a recap of what we have spent so far this year on capital. We actually have $25,000 for our police car, $25,000 for the fire truck, and I want to comment on the fire truck. This is something we just got, and I said we're not going to do the committee report, so I want to cover a little bit of it in this open meeting. This came up, and it's to replace a pumper truck that does not meet the tests that we need it to meet. Plus, additionally, it's a ladder truck. So Jonathan, in his quest to get us on track to reduce our ISO rating, and by the way, he hopes to be able to do that in October of 2000. And he's making progress in several areas. One is in the area of training. He's making good progress in that. And by replacing the pumper truck and adding a ladder truck, we get extra points in that area. So this is very important to the fire department to have this additional vehicle. Also, as far as capital, there's a bathroom replacement, air conditioner replacement, $82,000 for the asphalt. We had to replace a pump on Lake Renee. The Ford truck is $49,800. We did some mailbox repairs in the mobile home park, and then a trailer for Public Works for $6,000 of work truck. This is a total of $202,000, and we're going to spend another $30,000 on getting the truck snowplow added. That should give us a total of $231,000 worth of capital equipment purchased this year. That's just an addendum to the financial for this year. Okay, the last item on the financials is the income statement. And, I'd like to have a motion to approve the income statement as presented.
I'll make the motion.
Mike makes a motion to approve it. Do I have a second? Mr. Combs seconds. Okay, well, for discussion on the financial report, the income and loss. Anybody have any questions on it? You want to address? If not, I'll make a few comments on it. During the course of the month, there's been a lot said about the finances. And this month, I think the financial statements speak for themselves. During the month, from our meeting minutes, Mr. Keithley made a motion to accept and approve the audit and opinion report from Crouch and Farley. That was approved by a vote of 6-0. Also, the management report that was submitted to the management was addressed. The finance committee met with the auditor, and the auditors expressed concern in 4 issues on that management letter. The first of those issues, one was regarding some clerical issues and penalties. We met with the auditors, determined that the penalties, it says small penalties, and they were. The penalties were like $35 with $1.05 interest, so the penalties assessed were $37 and change for the penalty part of that. Also, we have not responded to all the items on that. The finance committee and staff are working together to draft a response, which we're in the process of doing. Part of it also would refer to an item that we started the correction with in our last minute, and that goes to the part where we had a motion that Mr. Kearns made a motion to establish a website committee to make recommendations to the board regarding website ownership and administration, website expenses and annual budget, i.e. live streaming of property owner association open meetings, establish the criteria for website operation and training, any other functions necessary to maintain a professional website under the control of the association. Mr. Cole seconded that, and the vote carried 6-0. Okay, that was the management report and the letter thereof. I think worthy of note on the financial report is that our annual budget says that we're hoping to have $1,450,000 in revenue. Our revenue stands at $1,473,000 now, so we're 20 over that. But part of that is this recapture on depreciation, so that doesn't really count. But the sum and substance of it is we're in the process of doing a month-end projection to come up with better numbers. But if everything holds true, I believe, and estimating that we will probably, we had budgeted to have an income of $50,000 this year. I think we're going to beat that by a little bit. So I think with as many ups and downs we've had some additional expenses, such as legal fees and some other expenses, but we've had some positives. So I think we're going to end the year pretty much according to what this budget plan reflects, which would be a operating profit of around $75,000. Any other corrections or difference of opinions on where we're going to end up? If not, I'll accept the motion to approve the income statement. Yeah, we vote. Call the vote. Those in favor? Aye. All in favor, no opposed. Okay, the last item I think that we have is the approval of our attorney bill for November. We approved the October expenses, but this is a November bill that we need to pay, and it's in the amount of $2,415. I've got the bill here if anybody wants to see it. It gives the detail. You might wanna look at it? We did not send that out in the packet. Anybody else want to look at the bill? Yep. Okay. I apologize for the delay, but this is the first time some of them have seen this bill and they need to review it. I would accept the motion to approve the bill as presented.
I'll make it.
Miller? Mr. Cohen? Those in favor of paying our attorneys, signify by
Aye.
aye.
Abstain.
Abstain. Mr. Kelly abstains. Okay, that concludes the business segment of our meeting. This is the meet the candidate meeting, and Mr. Miller is gonna take over for that, so I would accept the motion to adjourn the business segment of this.
Make that motion.
Okay, second?
I'll second.
All right, those in favor? Aye. Okay. All yours, Mr. Miller.
Welcome, everybody, to the meet the candidate section. At this time, the board members are going to vacate the seats up here, and the candidates will join me up here on the stage, please.
Carol.
start with a three-minute opening statement by each candidate. After we've met all the candidates, we will start from the front of the room and work our way back. Just raise your hands and we'll start from the front and go to the back. If we have time, once we've gone all the way through, we will do follow-up questions, if there are any, in the same manner. We have one board member who is not available to be here tonight. She has an opening statement. I will read that for her. This is for Deb Thacker. She sincerely apologized for not being able to attend the meet and greet. Prior to being nominated, travel arrangements were made to tend to my mother in California who has not been feeling well. I am honored to have been nominated to be on the board of directors for Terre. My husband and I moved to Terre in April of 2017. I have come to know the community through volunteering, Meals on Wheels, 4-month pavilion rejuvenation project, changing the marquee boards, and being a court-appointed special advocate working with foster kids. I have 6 years experience as a human resource investigator, 25 years experience in management, personnel, contracting, and reviewing budgets and expenditures that will be beneficial as a board member. I enjoy being a part of something else I am passionate about, my community. My goal is to give Terre my absolute best efforts to ensure that we are fiscally responsible and accountable with our budget by implementing additional checks and balances. I am confident that I can work well with our incoming and present board members to ensure transparency and open communication in Terre. If elected to the board, my goal is to serve with honesty, integrity, and transparency so the Terre community can fully understand the decisions the board is making and why. Being a board member means listening to our community, understanding the budget and finances, debating and executing proposed ideas, and dedicating the time required to do an in-depth job for us all. I believe my extensive experience in budgeting and personnel has prepared me for a seat on the board and will greatly benefit my community. I will approach issues and ideas with an open, objective mind and keep Terre best interests as a focal point. In order to effectively serve the residents of Terre, any indication of personal gain and or interest must stay out of the equation. Terre is a great place to own a home or property, and if we work together, we can make it even better. If you want to discuss any issues that concerns regarding Terre, please visit my website at debthackertdl.com or email me at debthackertdl@yahoo.com. If you prefer a phone call, please let me know by email and we can schedule a time to talk. That was Deb Thacker. And we'll move right on down the line here. Ms. Carol Gilmer.
Hi, my name is Carol Gilmer. I have been a full-time resident of Terre for 40 years. I have seen the lakes being established and the homes being built around those lakes. I have seen my dues go from $125 to $675, with not much to show for that. The development is the same size as it was when we came here, and we basically still have the same roads. I'm not going to dwell on the past. I have no control over what has happened in the past. My focus is on the future. I want to trim the spending, but I cannot be specific on that until I get to review the 2020 budget. I want a forensic audit, and I want to see accountability, such as I want to know what our employees are doing, why they are doing it, and the time that they are spending on doing that. A question was asked on the candidate page about the Fall Festival, 4th of July. You may not realize this, but when I was on the board before, 10 years ago, I was the one who started that. I did 2 craft fairs, which what they were called back then. Our first one, we had about 30-some booths. Our second one, we had 36 booths. From that, we went and we paid for our Santa Claus, Meet the Claus, and we also did the Easter hunt. I also did music in the park. The money that we raised from our craft fair is what we used to take care of Christmas. I had a budget of about $500. Other than that, we raised and got donations. I did not have a $5,000 budget to do any of these programs. Our infrastructure is in disrepair. This development is old and still has many dirt and gravel roads. A thorough study needs to be done to correct this. Also, we have many homes and trailers that are in disrepair and trash laying around. This does detriment our beautiful community. Our ISO rating must be restored. We must work with the state, the utility company, and the firehouse to get this done. It is costing approximately $140,000 for our residents in their insurance claims. You may not realize this, but if you call and ask, that's what it's going to be. Mine went up. I thought, oh, it's because of a hurricane, because of fires in California. No, it was because we had lost our ISO rating. Lastly, the streaming of meetings is very important to me. I believe members that cannot attend should be able to see what the meetings are going on. I want to look at you getting a copyright, have a strict guideline, and a supervision of that program. The meetings will only be broadcast to Terre members and on the association page. In closing, I promise that I will not file a lawsuit against the association, nor any member of this community or this board. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me at any time. If you have any suggestions, please feel free to contact me. I will take those suggestions and questions to the board. Thank you.
Mr. Dwayne Pat.
I'm Dwayne Pat. I know most of y'all in here. I've worked with you guys throughout the years. I've been here since 2001, and then I fell in love with the place, just bought more property, and I've set it up to where I basically don't leave this place. I mean, you all keep me busy, and I'm very fortunate to be able to work out here in this community, put a lot of time and effort into it. And, you know, my main reason in running is I want to make Terre a better place. I mean, people will follow if someone's willing to lead. We've been doing some positive things around here, putting some little bit of landscaping, and it seems to diminish the chaos, and that's what I'm all about. I want to fix all that, you know, so we can move forward and be a better place. Another thing, a major concern of mine is the EPA remediation stuff going on right now. This is what I did for many years, and I believe we're going to be on the bad end of we're going to receive the bad end of this. When this is all gone, our infrastructure is going to crumble. And I'm watching situations now, like on Double I, for example, on Shops. When the mail truck has gone through, you got situations that's creating ponding. That absorbs underneath the road. They're gone, the property all looks good. We're going to pay for that 2 or 3 years down the road. I think there needs to be some major improvements done with the communication of the company that's doing this, or we are all going to pay for this. And I've done this stuff for years, and this is what I do. There's some areas I have expertise in here. There's some areas I'm not going to sit here and say that I am an expert in. I lack a lot of those areas, but there are areas that I can definitely help benefit the place in, and that's going to be catastrophic. I mean, we're going to have flood. It's separated up here on the Riviera. We've got lots of damage from going in and out of Napoleon. We've got to do something about this. We've got to get them on tighter restrictions, but we're all going to pay for this. So those are my major reasons of running. Curb appeal, I want to see the place spruced up, definitely. I think there's some improvements could be made. I've tried to talk to all the department heads and looked at a 5-year road. Talked to Mr. Callender about a possibility of putting security cameras in out here, you know, and he came up with a program, kind of a community watch program where people would sign their cameras over in place of a crime. If the crime took place, you know, that's a great idea, but I think we can build off of that, you know, make Terre a safer place. Also, the fire and rescue. I've looked at this related. And I suppose in this area to get medical certification that he just got, which is wonderful. 5% medical. I think we need to take a look at the program and make sure that most of our funds are being spent for that, so we can be even better. Not that we're not good, but we can be better. I believe we need to take a look at that. And that's about all the things I got to reason why I'm running.
Thank you, Mr. Pat. Next, Mr. Robert Brunel.
Good evening, thanks for coming. My name is Robert Brunel. I'm not going to take up too much of your time because I know a lot of you are going to be asking questions. My wife and I, Denise, we've been full-time residents since 2005. I've served 2 previous terms on the board, as board member, vice president, president, treasurer. Love Terre. I got involved initially just to see how it all works, because I didn't understand. I would hear bits and pieces, and so that was why I ran the first time, and I enjoy serving. I like to stay involved with the community and do what I can to improve Terre in any way I can, and to be your voice. And if you have any questions of me, if you want to see my full bio, tdlvote.com. I don't want to take up too much of your time, so I'll yield the rest of my time to whoever can.
All right, thank you, Mr. Rennell. Mr. Rennell. Next, we have Ms. Sue Bourne. Sue?
I have lived in Terre for 10 years, and I love living here. There are so many things that we have in our community that I enjoy. I enjoy the peace and quiet, and I enjoy the sunsets, and I enjoy the night sky. I enjoy the people. I've always been a volunteer throughout my life, and I've served on lots of committees and boards, and this is just an extension of what I've done in the past. My educational background is in education. I got out at a time that there were a lot of teachers, and I graduated in the middle of the year, so I started working for an insurance company, which I never got out of insurance. They sucked me in, and I stayed there for 37 years. Most of my experience is in underwriting and compliance, which is rules and regulations, and the appliance and the auditing and the review of those rules that are put out basically by the states. You have to comply with them. That's what I've done all my life. Because I love living here, and I plan to stay here until I can't stay here anymore, that's part of the reason that I wanted to run for the board. I want the community to be viable. I want it to be a place I want to live. I want a place where I want my kids and grandkids to visit. Another reason is because our community has been in turmoil, and it just breaks my heart. We have too much going on for us, to let so much negative take us down. So I want to work toward making it a better place, making it a place we all want to live, and that we're happy living here. My father always taught me that if I was not part of the solution, then I was part of the problem. I want to be part of the solution for Terre. I want to work to make lots of things better. I am an independent person. For those of you who know me well, you know that I am independent. I am not related to any group, any faction, any block, none of that nonsense. I'm my own person. I do research. I make decisions, I have discussions, and that's what I hope to bring to the board. I want the same thing the rest of you want. I want our roads to be good. I want our lakes to be clean and clear of vegetation and stocked well. I want our dams to be safe. I want effective police and fire department. And I want us to be financially secure. I'm not saying that we don't have those things now. I'm just saying that those are priorities, I think, for all of us, and we need to make sure that we keep them. We need to make sure that we're using the best use of our money that we can. We need to be financially viable from now until our kids will live here. I want to maintain all the good things that we have, make improvements, and I want us to be a community again. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Bourne. Next up, Mr. Andy Kearns.
I'm Andy Kearns. I've lived in Terre for 30 years. There was a period of time where I was in college and doing other things where I didn't live here. But as soon as we graduated, my wife and I bought our first house. Actually, before I graduated. I have no agenda other than I want to continue making the improvements to our roads, to our infrastructure, to our relationships. But I don't want to raise the assessments anymore. We've gone up 10%, I think, total over the last 5 years. We need to figure out a better way to make it work. I'm not sure what that solution is yet. I've got some ideas. I'm sorry. Please don't make me do it again. I'm really sorry. I just want to get back to work. I just want to. I want the community to get back to, getting along, but being accountable for what they need to be accountable for. But I won't take up any more time. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask.
Thank you, Mr. Kearns. And last down there, Mr. Herman Reiser.
Hello, my name is Herman Reiser. I've lived in Terre for 5 years with my wife and my 2 children. I'm a U.S. Army veteran. I'm currently employed as a regional technology manager for a Fortune 500 company. I cover entire North America, South America. I have remote teams across the globe. So I had extensive experience in leading large teams, in creating corporate policies and procedures, and budgets ranging up to $250 million. Now, the main reason I ran this year is I came to the meetings. I saw board members cursing at members. I saw board members refusing to allow members to see documents, let them know what's going on in the meetings. It's ridiculous. The board works for the people, not the other way around, and I'm running because I want to fix this. We need to fix this. We need to start with the foundation, and the foundation is the board. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ryder. All right. Next, we'll be taking questions from the audience. We'll start from the front and move our way back from that side on over here. So if you have a question, please raise your hand. Go ahead, ma'am.
Hi, Mr. Reiser. I would really like you to clarify some items. I've heard there's been a lawsuit, a remediation. Can you clarify that? Tell us a bit about that, just to clear the air and make sure people are informed.
Yeah, okay. I could talk an hour and a half on this. I'll try to make it brief. The remediation, I think that was something Dwayne and the board was talking about. I'm not privy to the remediation going on with EPA. I haven't looked into that. But for the lawsuit, yes, we saw deficiencies in the corporation. There were issues happening. There were minutes not being, financial records not being created. There was secrecy. There was bad behavior by board members. It was ridiculous. And we gave every opportunity to be corrected. We talked to them. We brought it out in public, and they refused to fix anything. So we had no choice but to protect the association by trying to bring these board members off. We didn't say, yes, please fight us. Please try to deny these things, which have already been brought out on that round, showing the deficiencies that was put into the lawsuit. It's been proven. It's been shown. And they decided to fight it. So it's been dragging on because they want to deny it. They want to save face instead of saying, yes, we made a mistake. I apologize. Let me step down. And let me have someone else come up here that can do the job and do it right. So that's why it was brought up, and I'm more than happy to go into a long discussion with anybody who wants to talk about it. Thank you.
Ellen, go ahead.
Yes, my question is for Mr. Pat. The annual audit letter has listed the significant deficiencies of our association for 2019. Since you had a Mike Tilley doesn't speak for me sign in your yard, please explain what you would have done to prevent these deficiencies had you been on the board this year. The deficiencies that you would have corrected that Mike Tilley hasn't already tried.
The sign was according to speaking for me as far as going to court. I don't believe that was the right thing to do. I believe that could have been handled.
How would you have handled it?
I wasn't on the board at the time to tell you how it handled. I would not use our money to go to court. I can assure you that. I've been able to talk to all board members all the time. They've been very cooperative on both sides, Mike himself. And we talk. I don't seem to have that problem with them, and I certainly will not take our dues and assessments being held accountable when our roads are crumbling, our infrastructure is crumbling, to go sue people. That's insane. There's not one of these folks up here that I can't talk to, I guarantee you that, and hash it out without spending our money going to court. That's why I feel about that. It's pure laziness.
Laziness?
Laziness.
I'd like to respond.
Can I insert something here?
Yeah.
This is exactly why I wanted to run for the board. These are staged questions by your, right,
I don't even know who this lady is.
this lady is your,
He
what's your
doesn't
name?
know
ma'am?
me.
No.
My name is Denise Renell, but I'm very low-keyed in the community. I am very low-keyed.
I'm sorry, I can't ask a question. I apologize.
I'd like to actually answer the question instead of playing. Can you hand me the mic?
Sure.
There's Russian collusion going on.
Yeah.
Russian collusion, guys.
All right, so I want to take a step back. I don't know how many people actually know about this audit letter that the president brought up briefly. There were some, as the auditor stated, significant deficiencies within the corporation. And there's a reason why they labeled this as significant. And I guarantee you it's not going to be brought up by any of those board members. And the reason is we are a 501c4 tax-exempt corporation. That means we pay no taxes on our income that we get in. And to maintain that, the IRS requires a few things. One, we have to maintain proper minutes of all meetings. Two, we have to maintain detailed financial records. Three, we have to do our taxes on time. And four, we have to do our taxes correctly. Guess what our 4 deficiencies were? We had no minutes, no financial records, taxes were incorrect, and the taxes were late. Does this mean we're going to lose our tax exemption tomorrow? No. But it means that where there was no chance, now there is. Now there is a possibility that we may lose our tax exemption. So what's the tax rate for a residential homeowner association? 30%. We took in, the president said, roughly $1.5 million this year. So that's $450,000 in taxes we would have to pay. Not one time. That's annually. That means goodbye police department, goodbye fire department, or we have to raise our dues and assessments, which everybody said they don't want to do, 30-40% to cover this loss. These are significant deficiencies. And guess when they stopped? There's dates in there. There's dates on the letter. They stopped when the TRO went into place. That's not a coincidence. It took removing the board members from office to stop the significant deficiencies.
All right. That's not necessarily true.
No, that is true. Those are the dates on the letter.
But we're supposed to meet the candidates.
From the auditor. The auditor lied. Okay, again, let me finish.
There was missing paper. There was
It
missing.
was a question, but if you raise your hand,
Can we
you're...
wrap it up, please? Mr. Wiseman, please. Thank you.
Okay. So, yes, there was deficiencies. And what Mike Tilley did was to protect the association. So those dollar signs you see on those signs, is that the $0 that he spent association money, because he didn't spend anything. Not a dollar. Or, not yet. Or, is it the $450,000 a year he was trying to save the association?
We're going to start in the front and work our way back.
Work our way back.
I have a question for Carol concerning live streaming. My name is Jesse James. It's on the internet, Jesse Rupp. Rupp. That's R-U, P as in Paul, P as in Paul. Could you tell me exactly how do you feel about live streaming?
I didn't say anything about live streaming, you did, and I think I.
No, actually you did. I've got comments here from you, Carol, and I like to be able to show everyone.
No, that's okay.
Okay.
I don't feel
But-
that it's necessary for someone outside of Terre.
I actually own property here. Okay.
I
I'm
said the minutes outside of Terre. It should be posted on the Terre website.
Okay.
It should be made for members only to see. St. Francis County Politics has no business seeing it. Your personal website has no business, nor does your YouTube channel.
Okay.
It goes for here in Terre and Terre only.
Okay. You said something about
I'm not saying
copywriting.
anymore.
You stated.
You allowed one question and I answered your question.
You
Thank
stated-
very much. Next.
Question's been asked, I'll let you answer.
I still have more questions.
Come back.
Oh, we'll be here all night.
I'm Bill Pullman.
No, I don't know who you are.
I received one of your mailings, so,
Yes, you did, but I've never met you before.
well, now you do know.
Yes.
My question to you is, on Terre candidates page,
Mhm.
you stated that, one of your posts, that you supported our police department, right?
I didn't say that I completely supported the police department. I think that we need security in Terre.
Security,
Yes, I do.
not the PD.
Police department is also security as far as I know. Do they not?
Well, my
Secure
question to you
your
is
home.
this, is your support that you said you
I'm gonna
supported
show
our
everybody
PD,
that.
does it
That's
extend
what
as
she
far
said.
as to say that you support our PD at its current number?
I don't know because I don't have privy to all that information. And before I decrease it or increase it, I need to see the budget and see what they're asking for.
I thought that would be your answer.
Thank you.
Non-answer.
Okay, this is my own question, nobody's given me this, so I have my own brain. The general manager was removed at the beginning of this year and then brought back by court order. The board then had another vote to fire the general manager again, not too long ago, which failed. Where do you stand on the position of the general manager, and how would you vote if this comes up again while you're on the board? And that's for, Mrs. Gilmer.
I did not vote for the general manager in the first place. When that was done, it was done on the last time I was on the board. I did not feel a general manager was necessary. I still do not feel a general manager is necessary. That's why you have a board of directors.
Right.
Your staff should report, the head of your staff should report to your board, and your board should handle it from there.
Yes, Mr. Wright.
I'd like to weigh in on that.
Okay.
So, we lost our general manager at the end of the year. Significant deficiency started. No financial reports, no meeting minutes, nothing was posted, nothing was given to anybody. Nothing. Court order brings her back. Significant deficiencies end. Financial records, go down, I get financial records, here you go. She goes on vacation. They decide to have a vote. She did all this work. Brought us all back to where we need to be. Was fired. Luckily, it failed. 4-3. It was close.
All right, first off, to correct the record, we did not have a vote to terminate her. Okay, we had to make a decision. The court order had expired. We had to decide whether to keep her or to remove her. She couldn't be fired because she didn't work for us. It was
okay.
court order. So there was never a vote to fire her. We had to make a decision to retain her or not to retain her, and we voted to retain her.
Okay, I'm just going off of some stuff that I saw. I'm not going to name any candidate names, but said, messages going around, we need to rally, call the board members, we have to fire Lori, she's the cause of everything. I won't say any names, Ms. Gilmer.
All right.
And you said you would not sue any association members, but I believe many got letters from you saying, I'm going to sue you if you don't stop talking about me saying fire Lori.
All right, knock it off.
Well, Mike, you work. Carol, they work together.
This is exactly what I have posted on the candidate side. We make decisions based on hearsay, rumor.
It's not hearsay, that is true.
And innuendo.
I copied it from a computer from anyone. It is true, that is a true statement. And she said it was a lie.
Excuse me.
No.
Well, let the people talk. Can't they talk?
Yes, you sent us these letters,
Hey,
I did not accept.
we're gonna end this here real
And you
quick.
didn't send it to me, you sent it to my husband.
That's darn right I did.
She's-
Certified mail.
Okay, the question of her sending that is not in question. The question that, whether you like it or not, that's fine. But every question, we're not gonna come back and
Well, be honest then.
rehash what's
The
happening.
rules say I can raise my hand and answer a question. I had input on the general manager.
Because she's gonna lie about that, she's gonna lie about everything else.
All right, next question, please.
Well, we know she don't like transparency.
And I'm gonna bring it back to a little bit happier times. I have been one of the voices about the playground, the fall festival, and so forth out on the different websites and boards. And it may seem like a ridiculous question, but I would like to really know where each of you stand on keeping the fall festival, making sure that playground goes in. These are community events, and I want to know, are you planning to get rid of them? You know whether you want them or not at this point in time.
You want to get started?
Yes,
Okay.
please.
As I stated before, I did the first one. I started it. I had 2 craft fairs, they weren't as big as they are now. I think that it's good to go ahead and do that as a community. I think that, I don't know a lot about the crawling ground, but I know the one that you're talking about, and I know that it's been there, I think ever since we've been here. At one time, it even had a putt-putt course up there that the kids could go get, rackets or, golf clubs to go get and be able to play. I think they said that they were checking the soil, which I think is a good idea. But I don't see any problem with that being up there. Now, I know that it's something that the community uses. I know they use this one out here a lot. So, that's a perfectly, that's not a crazy question.
The problem is, Mike,
I would like to see all the community events very much intensified. Several years back, I donated several loads of dirt, seed and straw at the ball field, trying to bring that in, but I tell you what the community lacks over nonsense like this stuff here that you're seeing. This is why I want to run for the board too, because all this stuff, when you ask a question and he answers or she answers is nonsense. The community needs to work together. We're all Terre and this stuff here is the whole reason why I'm running. This is a bunch of chaos and a bunch of nonsense. This is just absolutely insane. This is a great place we got here. And what we've lacked before is community effort, getting involved in stuff like this, because he wants to do this. It's like a grade school. It really is. I wouldn't call it junior high, I'd call it grade school. And everybody here wants the same thing, but we want credit for this and we want credit for that. I donate a lot of stuff to this association without my name being put on anything. I believe that my work speaks for itself right there. So I want everything intensified.
So as I responded to your post, I definitely believe and feel the same way, that the community events are what actually holds us together, and thank you, Carol, for getting it kicked off. I've seen where it's dwindled or attempted to dwindle, but we need to keep that alive. My wife and I have always tried to stay involved in those events, helping with the planning, fall festival, going out, getting the 50-50, or not the 50-50, excuse me, the raffle items. I did mention on your question that you posed that I was not opposed to the park at the entrance. Until you brought that question, I wasn't even aware that it had been torn out. But I posed the concern of the safety issue of the no parking, and depending on how much use it gets, if there would be a lot of traffic or parking on the circle itself. A lot of folks responded saying, can we look at a parking lot, which I think is a great idea. But as Carol said, as candidates, we don't know what the upcoming budget's gonna look like and where the focus of the money is. I know that there was a post recently, and Cody has talked about the road plan, which I think is very important. We've got to keep that going, I feel. And so, yeah, I was open to questions and discussion on the entrance park.
I love the fall festival and how much it grew from 5 years ago to now. It's just amazing, and I know it takes a lot of work. I would love to see more community events. also, maybe a monthly something, every 2 months, have something that will bring us together. As far as the park, my grandkids have used it, and at the time, to the swings because some of the equipment was questionable. I would love to have something there. We need something for the kids to go and do something safe on, and I think we also need stuff for the older kids, that middle school years that we all struggle through when we have kids. We need stuff for those kids. We need stuff for everyone because we're not going to grow if we don't have young people, and young people are not going to want to be here if there's nothing for the kids.
I support the Fall Festival. I support it here, whether I'm on the board or not on the board. It was a great event. The music's great. It's well planned. Tracy does a fantastic job, and everybody that helps her does a great job. As far as the playground equipment is concerned, I'm the one who said that it was unsafe. That's what I do. I manufacture playground equipment. But as I was telling them the stuff's unsafe and it can't be repaired, I also told them I would replace every bit of it for nothing. So there's not going to be any cost in terms of the equipment for the association. That's already been handled, and I have everything already done. If I'm not moving over to a location, I agree that location is probably really not a great location for it. I think that you could probably find something, even at the ball field, I think there's probably room, which is close to that area, so it gets that end of Terre some place for kids to go. But that's a discussion for another day.
Yeah, I'm for every event. If I even decided to talk bad about the fall, I think she visited 4 times this year. I think there's a lot more we can do for the children of Terre. I have nothing against any of the events. I love all the events, but I think there's more we can do for the children's safety in Terre. I think it's bad that it took this long for the playground equipment to come out. I saw the pictures of it. It was horrible. There should be a group established by the board just for looking at these things within Terre, just for the children. Let's check out the bus routes, make sure that's all safe. Let's check out all the playgrounds. Let's check out where the kids are riding their bikes up and down, see what the speed limit signs are. Let's keep our kids safe over everything. But yes, I'm for the events, and I'm for any new events that we come up with. Thank you.
For Mr. Kearns and Mr. Reiser specifically, but if anybody wants to answer, you can. We've had a lot of talk tonight about live streaming and all that, and I'm all for that. We're in the 21st century, we should be doing that. I love the idea of revamping the website, personally. But you specifically, Mr. Reiser, talked about transparency and how it sucks. I agree. What kind of ideas do you have to improve it other than just live streaming meetings to the members and stuff like that? I mean,
question I can answer something.
yeah, well, like I said, it's for you because I love your website idea. I mean, I've been out to the Terre website, so I mean, I feel that it could definitely use,
The idea is a little bigger than the website. That's just sort of how Ed rolls with it. It's more about IT, and I'm certainly not an expert in that in any way. About we need to have Terre email addresses for our staff instead of Gmail or Yahoo or whatever we're using. So in terms of transparency, I'm on the school board at West County, and my opinion is that unless it's something that is being discussed about employees, about specific employees, or about some kind of competitive thing that you guys are working on, if you're buying property or you're making some sort of acquisition, I think the meeting should be open, period. I think all of our I have a feeling it's going to be less efficient, but I still think it's a better idea.
I think you are looking at my notes over here. Yes, I agree with Mr. Kearns. We need to be open. We need to be more open than we are now. There's no transparency right now. What we have, it was hard fought for, and it's really not a lot. For the live streaming, I think we actually need a hybrid solution. The younger crowd, they prefer the live streaming, and that's fine, but there's also the older crowd who likes to come in, do the face-to-face, likes to ask questions. So I believe we should have a place where questions can be submitted beforehand, and that way they can be answered. No one should lose the opportunity to talk to the board and ask their questions. So if we have those questions beforehand during the live stream, we can answer those. We can answer the ones from the crowd. It should be a hybrid solution that everyone can enjoy, everyone can get involved. Now for the openness, I gotta tell you, we've gone pretty downhill. Last year, I could go in and say, you know, can I get the annual audit? And they're like, oh, here you go, 5 minutes later. This year I was told, you gotta submit a written request. So I did that, and then 3 days later, I got a letter from the association attorney. Said, you've been denied. Here's a 3-page letter. For 3 reasons. One, I didn't list which annual audit I wanted. You know, I guess I made that mistake. You know, it's 2019, so I guess I could have been looking for the 62 version. I didn't ask and submit my request directly to the president, Ed Weigel. I gave it to one of the office workers, which I guess is wrong, so I need to camp out there now waiting for Mr. Weigel to show up. And 3, I didn't state the purpose of why I wanted the audit report. I guess being a member is no longer sufficient, so we have to change. We have to be open. Anybody who wants documents, you get the documents. We're the association. This is the association. We are the members. We're supposed to get everything. So if elected, that's my goal. Openness. Open meetings, talking to everybody. Everybody has an option. Everybody has a voice. Everybody gets everything. No secrets. Thank you.
Yes, my question is for Mr. Reiser. You stated that we would pay $450,000 on $1 million for an income. Is that what you said?
I said there's now a chance if we lose our tax exemption.
Okay, now you're a Fortune 500 company. Do they pay taxes on their income or a profit?
Yeah, we pay taxes.
On their profit or their income? But you're
No.
It's all bullshit. Pardon me.
No. With no tax exemption,
I'm gonna have to beep that out.
It's 30% on
I'm
all
live.
income for homeowner associations. No, we're confusing functional income with all income.
Okay, I got the next question.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm a little intimidated to talk up here because I can't stay to myself. I've been here for about 17 years. It seems like there's quite a few different sides around here. I just have one question, and this is for the board, and you can answer if you'd like, or you could pass. If there was a vote, would you keep the police department, or would it be secured?
Good question.
I don't know.
You can pass.
I don't know.
Okay.
It may come down to dollars and cents.
Security can't do the same as a police officer.
If we can keep from raising our dues, then it's something that we have to look at. But I think having somebody come in and do an extensive study, let us know what's needed. So I can't say yes or no because I honestly don't know.
When someone is breaking into your house,
Excuse
you're
me,
gonna want
you're
the
not
police
asking
there.
the question. Thank you.
See?
Exactly.
Transparency.
I believe the officers are needed out here. Simple as that. I put that on my home. If I go to sell my house, I certainly want to put that I have police, fire, rescue, and the country club. And I'm not a member of the country club, but I still want to see that open up for all business in Terre. So all the amenities, the more the better.
So I'm probably a little biased being ex-law enforcement myself, but yeah, absolutely, we need to keep the police department. The world's not getting safer. It's getting worse. Whether we like that or not, it's just gonna happen. Chief Cook has done an awesome job since being promoted to our chief in stopping a lot of drug traffic that comes through here, whether we want it or not.
He has. He has. That's for sure.
It is one of my goals. We need to change our bylaws. they're outdated, they're old. And one of my goals is to remove the statement in the bylaws that say we must maintain a security force to we must maintain a police force.
Yeah.
I agree, we need a police presence. I don't have enough information to tell you how many officers we need, or how many cars we need, or any of that, because I don't have the details. But we do need a police presence. We need, I wanna feel safe when I am on my own. I wanna feel safe when I arrive late at night and, I wanna know that I'm gonna make it home. It does seem that, I used to see police, maybe I'm not out as much as I used to, but I used to see them go by my address a lot. It seems like maybe not quite so much, but maybe it's because they're all doing what they need to be doing that doesn't involve me, and that's fine.
So did you mean TDL police or just a police force?
I'm sorry, what?
Did you mean TDL police or just a police force itself?
Well,
Terre police?
Yeah,
St.
Terre
Francis
police.
County
I don't want-
Sheriff's Department.
Oh, what was my other choice?
The sheriff's department.
No, I don't want the sheriff's department. I want the local guy.
Terre police force.
I'm not gonna do a long speech on this one. Everyone knows I've been an advocate for the police department since day one, since I've moved to TDL. I have nothing but respect for the police department, fire department, everything they do. I think we should all rally behind them. I think they deserve all our respect, all our love, and I just pray that they stay safe out there. Thanks, guys.
Here, here.
This row right before the back.
I have a question to begin with, Mr. Miller. How many people are to be elected on the board, and who is remaining on the board?
Okay. There are 3 positions available.
3.
You will be voting for 3 people on your ballot. And
Who's on the board?
who's currently staying on the board? Currently on the board is myself, Mr. Hector, Mr. Keithley, and Mr. Combs. And then we will be filling out the seat currently held by Mr. Weibel, the seat currently held by Mr. Kearns, and the seat currently held by Mr. Tilley.
But somebody's getting a short straw, right? Because one of those seats is not gonna be for a full, long term.
1 year.
That's right, one of them's a 1-year seat, yes.
We don't talk a lot about budgets and politics, and that's all great, but I moved here because I've lived out in the deep country forever, and I really like the idea of community. So the last few years with all the stuff that's been going on, there's a lot of division. What are you as candidates gonna do to help bring us together as a community? I mean, does anybody in here know who I am? I've lived here a while, and we don't do things together.
First way I think we can bring the community together is I believe in community participation in events like what I believe Mrs. Brown had asked the question about. Events like that, I believe that positive things that give people, even some of the most severe complainers, which we have out here, and still give them nothing to complain about. If everybody participates, if they're asked to participate, both sides of this current situation, come together, do stuff positive. I believe that's how you fix this out here. It's not I believe there's something, no matter if you disagree, or Mr. Arnell and I disagree on something, there's something I can learn from him, I guarantee you that. And there's something, whether you're Vincent or not, you can learn from me. And, I believe we can all learn something from everybody, and that's how you fix this. I mean, I spoke with Mr. Pullen at the house, and me and him had butted heads, I guess you call it, from time to time on this. Great individual, come to the house, and if I was elected, I would certainly want him to serve on a committee or subcommittee of some sort, because there's something he can bring to the table, just like yourself can, and it takes us all to make this community whole, not just this side and that side, and talking bad about one another and that crap, that's not getting us nowhere. We all need to work together.
I think for me, I think it's transparency. What I've seen is, you know, Mike Tilley was one of the first ones to do it when he was president the year before. As Mr. Kieran said, all business was conducted in front of the people. The executive meetings were cut to a bare minimum. It wasn't, you know, once a month, it wasn't twice a month, it was maybe once every other month. And it was to conduct the business of personnel, whether it be hiring, firing, things like that, which have to be done in an executive meeting. But I think that when you're not transparent, that leads to people to just sit back and wonder and speculate. And now with social media, it just becomes a feeding frenzy. People put comments out there and it just snowballs from there. So I think, you know, maybe we ought to step back from that a little bit. Come to the meetings, ask your questions in person, get the information firsthand, not through a thread of arguments on social media.
I think we could do a lot better on communication. In general, if it's not posted on the board or doesn't show up in the lifestyles, which is 3 months later, a lot of people don't know anything that's going on. If you're not part of the group that's involved in whatever it is, you may not know until the last minute. And I think that's wrong. We need to somehow, you know, maybe we do email bursts. We get, you know, not everybody has email, but probably 75% of the people do. That would be way better than what we're doing now. We just need to let people know what's going on, ask for input before we make a decision. No one person knows everything, no one person has the best ideas. That's why you have a board of 7, and all those people on the board need input from the people that they know. I admit I don't know a ton of people out there. I know several, but we need to communicate better as a community and as a board.
There's really not much more to say other than, you know, just being honest with each other, and if you don't like what the other guy has to say, it's not the end of the world. It's just life. Move on or don't. It's up to you. But you have to talk and be open and honest. And I got pretty thick skin, so I'm not entirely worried about making anybody on either end of any particular argument mad. It's my opinion. It's my opinion. I'm going to do the best that I can do, and hopefully that's good enough.
Yeah, events are nice. We had plenty of events this foundation. The foundation. Everybody has to have a voice. If you don't have a voice, if you're not heard, if you feel like you're not being heard, that's when the anger starts. That's when people get upset. Everybody has to have the ability to speak without the fear of a board member cursing them or saying, sit down, or go read the bylaws. That's not what we need. We need someone up here who's understanding, who will say, I understand what you're saying. Let me look into that. Let me help you understand so you don't get upset with me. So we can be on the same side. There is no sides when everything is open. When everybody has a voice, that's when we'll be one community. Thank you.
We moved here about 3 years ago. My name's Sharon Fiala from Pittsburgh. And the main problem that I'm seeing since I've been here, and you're absolutely correct, is communication. We are so fragmented on how we communicate as a group. I'd like to see from the board what your plans would be to correct that. And meaning, now, a lot of people have resisted technology. They resist the internet. They resist a lot of that. But that really, truly is the place you can pull us all together. The web page is good, but I bet you most of the people around here don't even know how to get to it. You know, there's not enough communication from the association to the members. A lot of people don't attend the meetings for whatever reasons, but communication is the key to a lot of the problems that we have. So that's something you all need to really, really work on. Agreed?
Yes.
That was rhetorical, I guess. But I'm just saying, everyone's saying this, but I'm not hearing how we would do that. And again, communication, you're saying that we all have a voice. Okay, how do we get that voice heard?
Yeah, like I touched on earlier, I would establish that hybrid meeting solution. So everybody has the opportunity. If you can't come because, you're sick, you can't come because you have children, you still have the opportunity to reach out and submit your questions and be heard and be answered by the board members during the meeting.
But that would be part of the whole. There needs to be a central place where we all know where to go and to find those pieces of information. Now, every time I thought I found, and I'm fairly literate online, I want you to know that. I thought, oh, I found a place now where I can find the documents. Well, guess what? That changed. You know, so then you have to find someplace else. You know, so it's just very fragmented. So I think that is one area that I would love to see the new board members work on.
No, I agree with you, and I think the one central location that you're looking for, we have, it just severely needs to be updated. It's the website, what Mr. Kearns was talking about, getting that updated. It's very hard to navigate, it's very confusing, it's hard to read, and the communication, if you don't come to the meetings, that's fine. Not everybody needs to come to the meetings. But the communication that you receive is the meeting minutes. And if we don't do detailed minutes, so you understand every single thing that we're talking about, then you lose out on all that information.
But I know the website, what I'm really saying is you're gonna have to put some dollars towards it, or special people, which I've heard some of that, that you're looking into doing. I don't know. You know, that there's gotta be someone that's dedicated to doing that. This sometimes, okay, the minutes didn't get updated, well, when are they gonna put the minutes out there? You know, cause I kept looking, you know, and it's not just this past year, this has been ongoing.
Yes, and as a tech manager, technology being my life, I agree with you. I would love to get a hold of that website and make a lot of changes. What, 15 years ago? It was years ago.
I got you, Steve. My name is Vince Bombasino. I know really pretty frequently, but ma'am, I'm not sure what your name is. What's your name in the red and gray? Sue. Sue? Miss Sue, do you realize everybody wants transparency, and I understand that. It's a great thing, live streaming. This gentleman here is live streaming Facebook right now, correct? Right. Do you realize you just told everybody on Facebook that you're home alone and police do not patrol your home too very often?
Right. I did.
I understand transparency is a great thing, but do you understand you're in an elderly community where transparency should be just with the Terre members? I don't believe Facebook should be a place to put all our business out. It's a great thing.
Unfortunately, this is not possible. Even if we put the videos just on our website, even if we lock it down with passwords, as soon as one member gets access to that and decides they want to upload it to YouTube, they can. As soon as they grab it and they decide, I'm going to put it on my own personal website, they can. The board can only do so much to lock it down. But once one of the 2,000-3,000 members get access to it, it's out there.
Not if it's copyrighted.
Even if it's copyrighted.
Even if it's copyrighted. I have a little... You don't know the copyright laws.
Oh, if anybody else wants to say.
That was my question. It's just me. I'm not a Facebook fan.
Had not thought about it. I thought about the concern about whether anyone has asked my permission to do this, because I am a citizen and I don't know that you have the right to put me out there.
He does.
Maybe you should seek a guidance of an attorney. Okay?
That's kind of what I'm talking about. I mean, the attitude between the board members, elected pre-term board members, and now a gentleman that wants a live stream, a lady that might not want to be a live stream. I'm just saying, transparency is a great thing, but we're not doing it as transparent as we can.
When you put yourself up in a public position in front of a community of 3,000 people, someone's gonna record it.
Exactly, 3,000 people, that's where it should stay.
It's impossible. We're in this day and age, it's impossible. Put something on a lockdown website and see how long it stays there. Now, for whoever is watching this video, we do have police officers. They are patrolling her house.
I saw a gun on her hip, so.
We all have cameras. We all have cameras. Yes, sir.
The figures that you put out about the taxes were erroneous. Tom, I'm still here. He tried to get you to explain or to admit that it was erroneous. If our income is $1.4 million, you don't pay taxes on $1.4 million. You pay on profit. What is our profit?
Sir, in the homeowner association, if you look at the IRS website, when you pay, what you pay taxes on includes dues and assessments, not just profit.
I'm not an accountant. That doesn't sound right.
No, it's right. And if anybody has any questions about it, I can send them all to .com, go down to the bottom. There's a place you can submit your questions.
30%. That's what you're saying.
IRS states if you don't have a tax exemption, 30% for homeowners, residential homeowner associations. That includes dues and assessments.
That'd be your income. That's your income. So after operating, after paying the police, after paying for whatever we pay for, go in and his guys.
Sir, I'm not an
You don't
accountant.
pay taxes on that.
I'm not an IRS member. I can only read what they have on their website. Like I said, if you want to see the material, I'm more than happy to send it to you, sir. And it doesn't matter if it's $450,000. It doesn't matter if it's $5,000. We can't lose this tax exemption.
And to me, that's sort of a scare tactic that's going out, that's not approved.
Like I said, it wasn't a scare tactic. I said it may not happen, but the chance is there now. Thank you, sir.
Hey, my name's Kyle Hauser. I'm a new resident here. I've been here for about 3 years now, and I'd like to ask a bunch of questions, but you know, I'm guilty to say that I don't come to all these meetings because I've tried to avoid some of the drama. I tell you though, stuff that I'm uncomfortable with is, you know, I'm paying $645 a year in dues and assessments, and it bothers me that assessments can go up without getting put to a vote to the people. Yes. And that bothers me. I live on Lake Road, and I do heavy construction, heavy duty highway. I build highways, I build bridges, stuff like that. And then we had a cracked sewer pipe in our front yard for 3 weeks with standing sewage. And it took 3 weeks to get it fixed. And it's just like, I don't want my dues to go up if I see the roads getting paved. I don't know what the road plans are because I ain't been here. You know, I see a lot of the big lakes, big money stuff getting worked on. I don't see little streets getting worked on. Right. You know, we called and asked for signs for our children because people fly up and down our road. And we didn't get no signs put in, you know. I can't ask where my money's going, but I'm saying, where is my money going? And I feel uncomfortable with the dues going up without it going to a vote to the people. And that's just, I want to ask the whole board, how do you guys feel about just jumping the dues up without taking it to the people first?
I don't know if that's, if that can be done, taking it to the people, but I can assure you this, it needs to be gone through with a fine-tooth comb and make sure we're getting the most bang. I can assure you, not be voting for dues to go up unless there was you know, if I was able to account for every man hour, every dollar spent. I mean, there needs to be no wasteful spending at all. So that's a lot of money for us to all pay to live here. I believe we do a great job. But I also believe that there is room for improvement everywhere. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean, those who get too cush with doing things on the everyday process, that's where we fall behind. We've got to stretch the dollar, and I would expect everyone to pick the pace up a little bit. I would do so myself on the board, and I believe it starts with the board. It does start with the leadership. A board that will lead.
Your microphone went out.
I'm done.
have the ability to tax because we're not a city. So it has to come in the form of dues and assessments. As far as a community vote, I don't know if that works being as a homeowners association either. So we have to, as Dwayne said, we have to work with what we got and do the best that we can with what we have, but we also need to make sure that we're moving forward and not like with the pipe replacement, and we waited so long that it's a bigger job than it would have been if we did it at the right time. So we need to make sure that we're on top of things and that we research things and use our money as wisely as possible.
Yeah, it's true, the board can raise the time without permission from the community, and they do so because they have to keep providing what we provide. Our officers need raises, the fire department needs equipment, but I believe anytime the board decides to implement something new that is going to be significant in cost, it should be run by the people, such as inviting the attorney to our association meeting just to sit up here. That's money, and that's a lot of money. And I believe when we go through the budget, we should give options. We can raise your dues and assessments here, or maybe we do a little less road work over here, or maybe we do something less over here. We should let the members have some kind of say. Let us know how you feel about what we're doing, when we do it, and how we do it. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. My question to you is, I hear everybody up here candidate-wise saying, I want this done, I want that done. Have you sat down and thought about what kind of plans you do? How are you going to get those wants? I want infrastructure, I want roads, I want to fix this, I want to fix that. Have you sat down with a plan? Have you drawn out a plan? Have you any ideas what would be a good implement to do besides saying I want? Have you went to the office down there and asked for the budget for this year to see what you are going to be looking to next year? Any real true plans?
I have reviewed the big line items. I have not reviewed the specifics, and that does need to be done. You see $500,000 here or $350,000 there, and it's broken down minimally, the types of expenses. But as far as the actual detail, I have not seen that. If I'm elected, I will definitely see that. I will definitely review that. And
have you thought of any plans now, though? You said you wanted to fix the infrastructure, you wanted to do roads, you want to make it better. What plan have you thought about saying, okay, when I get in there, I'm going to try and get them to get on board with this or propose this or anything?
first I have to review what exists. And at this point, I have not done that, I admit that. But in order to,
I just would like to hear somebody's plan. I understand that you're working on
it. In my line of work, we have a thing called an acquisition, where as being a big company, we go out and we buy smaller companies. What I would do, and what I will do if elected, is I'm going to treat this like an acquisition. We take it and we break down each piece, and we go through.
An acquisition in my place.
I'm sorry.
No.
What I would do is I would break down each piece, go through each section, and see how are we doing this? Is this? We need to start, like I said, at the foundation. I would go through the spending like a needle in a haystack. Something I specialize in is contract negotiation. I would look at our vendors and say, where can I make a difference? I do this all the time. We acquire 5-6 companies a year. So there's a whole game plan that I use when I break this down. That's exactly what I'm going to do here.
Ma'am.
I do.
Can you share maybe one of them?
save the city money, in fact, it's gonna cost us money. It's difficult to talk about a plan when you're on a board of 7 people and you've got to come to some sort of agreement.
I get it. I get it.
There is an ambition, you know, what's it gonna cost us every year to work on roads, and we just had a conversation shortly before the meeting. The road assessment isn't big enough to cover that plan annually. So in order to move through the process, you're gonna have to pull some money, because I wanna reiterate that I don't have any intention of raising dues or assessments or any of that. As one of the board members, I wouldn't be in favor of that. Not right now, not considering how much they've gone up. There are definitely efficiencies within our organization that we can improve on. Some of them are quite little, but you know, as my boss always says, it's like fingernails, you gotta keep cutting. Costs are just, you gotta keep going through them, you gotta keep working them, and you gotta make room. But it's not as easy to do as, you know, in a business, you can just do it. And here, you just can't. It's by committee, it's a lot more difficult. So, you know, with whoever's gonna be elected is difficult to do. And then when I talk about it, the expectation is that that's what I would do, but I can't unilaterally.
Correct, but you have plans and proposals of what you're going to go into at 15.
I
and
do.
Showing for the rest of the.
I do, yeah.
I mean.
I do, and when it's time to talk about those things, we'll talk about them. But I can't give you much more information than that. If you were looking for specific areas for me to cut funding, is that what you're asking?
No, I don't know when you said anything. I just want to know if somebody has some kind of idea or plan that they're going to go in and say, okay, I'm now a board member. I think this would be a good idea. Let me propose this to you. What do you guys think?
Right. That's fantastic.
You know, do any of you guys have that?
Got a little bit of a plan, but it's kind of hard to do until you get elected. But I've met with all the, if you let me finish, I've met with all the department heads. I talked with, Calendar, not department head, but spoke with him as well on some plans that I had. Spoke, you know, looked at the budget. Until you're elected, it's kind of hard to tell what you do, but my biggest thing, and I think I found another volunteer, back here, he said he works for roads and heavy construction. I'm big on committees and subcommittees, big on everybody doing their part. This gentleman here seems to be very knowledgeable on roads, he does it for a living. He'd be the first one asked to serve on a committee, more than likely, on a road committee. I think we all come together to get ideas like that. One of my things on ideas, without seeing a budget for next year, you know, I can't, but my idea, the plan, would be check into some chip and seal overlay to preserve asphalt, because the roads are crumbling. We've done this before in the past. I was involved in a lawsuit several years back over that same sort of thing. But we're running into a problem here. Infrastructure's crumbling. I'm with Andy. Our dues can't go up right now. We're gonna have to stretch dollar farther. And by doing that, just in infrastructure, for example, I believe we should look into some of the, you know, all the secondary roads, not necessarily the main arteries, but your secondary roads that are paved. Instead of doing maybe an overlay of 2 inches, maybe we do a chip and seal to prolong the life of them another 20 years for a fraction of the cost. I think that's one way to look at it. Another thing I talked with the police officers about was security cameras. I believe that's one thing that could definitely, you know, I believe I'm very proud of the community here, but there's been a couple thefts that could have been avoided the last few weeks. People hooking up trailers in the middle of public streets and driving off with them. Local concrete forms. That's unacceptable. It's not the police officer's fault, but what could we do to improve that? If there's a security camera going at the firehouse, at the main entrance, or the new program they've got out now where you can put your camera on your house, I believe those things could be avoided. I believe we need to be held to a higher standard and not let those kind of things happen. That's the plan I got in place. I've talked to a couple people about what that would cost as far as getting at every entrance and every exit in the place. Looks like it's going to be a little bit costly, but maybe before we buy a new car, maybe we keep a car longer and get security cameras. Just an idea. I can't, like I said, until elected, I can't say that. But that's some of the plans I have in place.